This is what people who were in one of the bloodiest wars of the 19th century looked like. During the 4 years of the American Civil War, from 1861 to 1865, 700,000 military personnel and 50,000 civilians died. More than 400,000 soldiers were wounded. When the war ended, an archive of photographs of wounded Northerners was compiled. Most of them were taken in 1865. Later, anamnesis was added to the photographs. The shrapnel knocked out Harvey's eye, split his cheek, and shattered his lower jaw. The picture was taken in the summer of 1865 when the cheek had not yet completely healed. Saliva was constantly flowing from it. German immigrant, shoemaker. Wounded in the left leg by a bullet on April 2, 1865, at the end of the siege of Petersburg, Virginia. The leg was amputated right on the battlefield. The musket ball that wounded Tinnecker passed through the right shoulder. 6 months later, he finally recovered and was demobilized. Wounded April 2, 1865, at the end of the siege of Petersburg, Virginia, which lasted almost a year. As a result of the injury, his left arm had to be amputated. Wounded 3 times at the Battle of Gettysburg on July 1, 1863. The first bullet hit the left eye, the second almost simultaneously passed right through the right side of the abdomen. The sergeant lost consciousness, after which a third bullet wounded him in the left thigh. Wounded in the elbow March 29, 1865, at Gravelly Run. In the hospital, Stokes developed gangrene, but with the help of kerosene and turpentine, its development was stopped. The patient was discharged on July 5, 1865. The elbow joint remained completely motionless. Soon after the wound, Ludwig Kohn developed gangrene. Soft tissues began to deteriorate. He coughed up blood and could not lie on his back. Kohn even spent the night sitting. He fully recovered only 2 years later. Wounded 3 times. The first time a bullet shattered the bone just above the elbow was at the Battle of Antietam on September 17, 1862. The second time, during the Battle of the Wilderness on May 6, 1864, Bemis was wounded in the right iliac region, lower abdomen. 8 months later, he was back in action, and almost immediately, on February 5, 1865, he was wounded in the head during the Battle of Hatcher's Run.
Imagine, in the midst of the American Civil War, a time of chaos and conflict that shaped the very fabric of the nation, a fascinating combination of history and art unfolds. Imagine soldiers entering studios, their faces forever etched in portraits that tell stories of bravery, sacrifice, and humanity. These images were more than just pretty pictures. Soldiers often posed with objects that spoke volumes about their lives, the tools of their trades, weapons that symbolized their bravery, or memorabilia that held special meaning. Each portrait was a window into their unique stories and pasts. Today, we can still see these remarkable faces and stories, preserved in archives, museums, and private collections. They connect us to a turning point in American history when more than 1 million people lost their lives. As historian James McPherson so poignantly notes, the cost of war in American lives was as high as in all the country's other wars, including Vietnam. These photos have been brought to life, enhanced, colored, and even animated using cutting-edge neural networks. They jump off the screen, inviting us to immerse ourselves in history like never before. So sit back and enjoy this visual journey through time. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and like us. It really helps our channel grow.
Today, we'll explore the incredible lives of famous Civil War generals, brought to life through AI. Join us as we uncover their stories, triumphs, and challenges in a unique way. Let's start with Robert E. Lee, a key figure in the American Civil War. Born in 1807, Lee graduated from West Point and served with distinction in the U.S. Army. However, his legacy is most closely associated with the Civil War. In February 1865, Robert Edward Lee was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Confederate forces. By this time, however, the South had exhausted its human and economic resources. On April 9, 1865, Lee signed the surrender at Appomattox, a major turning point in American history. Lee was admired for his military strategy and leadership, but also criticized for his role in defending slavery. After the war, he called for reconciliation between the North and South, becoming president of Washington College. His life reminds us of the complexities of history and the importance of understanding multiple perspectives. He was promoted to lieutenant general in 1866. Promoted to full general, Sherman succeeded Grant as commander of the entire U.S. Army from 1869 to 1884. He enjoyed exceptional popularity, and his commanding talent was beyond question. Sherman was recognized as the primary creator of the concept of total war. Unlike other Civil War generals, he consistently avoided interference in politics. In 1884, the Republican Party convention discussed his candidacy for the presidency of the United States, but Sherman categorically refused to run, sending a telegram to the convention on June 5, 1884: "If I am nominated, I will refuse to run. If elected, I will refuse to run for office." This phrase became known as the Sherman Formula and is considered the classic form of uncompromising refusal of political office. Ulysses Simpson Grant, the 18th President of the United States and a key figure in the Civil War. Born in 1822 in Point Pleasant, Ohio, Grant had humble beginnings. He graduated from West Point and initially struggled in civilian life. However, when the Civil War began, he proved himself to be a brilliant military strategist. His leadership in such decisive battles as Vicksburg and Appomattox helped ensure the Union victory, demonstrating his tenacity and tactical genius. After the war, Grant became the first president to champion civil rights for all Americans during Reconstruction. After the Civil War, General Joseph E. Johnston made his home in Savannah, Georgia. He took on significant roles, serving as president of a railroad company in Arkansas and also working in the insurance industry. From 1879 to 1881, he represented the Democratic Party as a congressman. In 1887, President Grover Cleveland appointed him as Railroad Commissioner, a position he held until his passing. Notably, Johnston, much like General Robert E. Lee, always remembered the generosity shown to them by General William Tecumseh Sherman after their surrender. Pierre Gustave Toutant Beauregard, a key figure in the American Civil War. Born in 1818 in Louisiana, Beauregard was a brilliant military strategist and the first general to lead Confederate troops into battle. He is best known for his role at the First Battle of Bull Run, where his leadership skills proved decisive. Despite the difficulties and controversies throughout his career, Beauregard's influence on military tactics and his dedication to the Confederate cause are undeniable. George Brinton McClellan, born in 1826, graduated from West Point and rose quickly through the ranks. He became commander of the Army of the Potomac, where he was known for his organizational skills and cautious strategies. Despite his initial successes, his indecisiveness in battle led to criticism, particularly after the Battle of Antietam. McClellan's leadership style sparked a debate about military strategy that continues to this day. After the war, he moved into politics, serving as governor of New Jersey.
1. 5 million Union veterans and 600,000 Confederate veterans were prominent members of post-war society. They dominated political office, serving as governors, senators, and congressmen, while countless others served in state and local offices. They were also members of veterans organizations and participants in Memorial Day and 4th of July celebrations. Although many veterans lived happy and peaceful lives, most suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, insomnia, paranoia, and physical disabilities. Some found it more difficult to adapt to civilian life. Federal pensions were awarded to Union veterans, and they received monthly pensions ranging from a few dollars a month to $25 or $30 depending on the degree of disability. These pensions and monthly payments were a major burden on the federal budget, since 30% of federal spending went to these social welfare programs. After the war, several veterans associations were created to support veterans. Some consisted of all the men living in one city or district, while others were formed from the surviving members of certain armies, corps, regiments. Two organizations dominated, the Grand Army of the Republic, GAR, and the United Confederate Veterans, UCV. To support such activities, a number of soldiers' newspapers were also published, such as the American Tribune, the National Tribune, and the Ohio Soldier. Memorial Day parades and speeches allowed Americans to think of Civil War veterans as distinguished old men with gray beards, elegant bearings, and bittersweet memories of fallen comrades. The following are some historical photographs showing the lives of American Civil War veterans.